A recent survey found that men cry on average 6 times a year. Does that surprise you? The #1 tear trigger among males, what do you think it is? It's not the passing of a friend. It's not the loss of a pet. It's not even sports, though that does happen. The #1 thing that causes us guys, according to this research, to show our emotions, a wedding. Now, I've only ever cried at 2 weddings. One was my own, after I got the bill and said this cost us how much. The other was more recently. But I certainly wasn't the only one crying, and I think in a few minutes you'll understand why. But first, I want you to think back to your best day ever. The day that out of all the ones you've lived, that was the most amazing. Maybe it was the day that your child was born. Maybe it was the day that you graduated after working so hard. Maybe it was the day that you met the love of your life. Now let's go to the opposite end. I want you to think of the most difficult day of your life. The day when maybe you got that phone call that a loved one had passed away. Or you suffered a terrible injury. Or you got fired from that job that you loved. Life will always be full of amazing ups and deflating downs. And in between that, a lot of just regular, okay days. But what happens when the ups and the downs overlap? That's what happened to Jordan Gardner and his wife, Paige. At the age of 8 months, Jordan was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disease that affects the lungs and the digestive system. There is no cure, and it is fatal. But Jordan wasn't going to be held back by the letters C and F. He lived as normal a childhood as he possibly could under the circumstances, and he gave his all in everything he did, especially on the volleyball court. And it was on that court where he developed a friendship with a classmate named Paige, a friendship that would become much more. One night, they were out on a date, though it was not with each other. It was actually a double date, and they were there with different individuals. But despite all that, sparks flew, and each of them will tell you that that was the night that they fell in love. From there, the two were inseparable, and anyone who knew them would tell you that these two were just meant to be. It wasn't a matter of if they would walk down the aisle, but when. Fast forward 15 years to August 17th, 2019, the day that Jordan and Paige would officially become husband and wife. Now, if you're married, you know how exciting it can be to plan for that big day. You want everything to be perfect. From the flowers to the food, of course the dress as well. But life isn't always perfect. Jordan came down with an illness just a week and a half before the wedding. Most likely CF related, or so we all figured. He would need to get checked out. But Jordan had always battled the disease so well throughout his life that we assumed this would just be another minor inconvenience of life with cystic fibrosis. From there, one day at the hospital turned into several. A trip to Sudbury wasn't enough. A trip to Toronto instead. And just 3 days before the wedding, Jordan got the news. Stage 4, metastatic colon cancer, which had spread to his liver and lungs. Imagine having a doctor give you that news at any point in your life. But to be so young, and just hours before what is to be one of the happiest days of your life, is truly awful. If Paige and Jordan had decided to cancel their celebration, no one would have faulted them. And I'm told that while in the hospital, Jordan turned to Paige after getting the news and said, "You don't have to marry me because you didn't sign up for this." But without missing a beat, she replied, "I love you, and we will get married." I had the honor of being the MC at that wedding, and like so many, I was shocked and sad and torn. Was it okay to have fun at the wedding? Because it didn't feel like it was going to be okay to have fun. So I asked Paige, I said, "What do you want your wedding to be?" And her reply was, "A celebration of life and love, and the best party you've ever been to." And you know what? It really was. Because I think it meant more than any wedding that any of us have been to before. Truer vows have never been spoken with words like, "I promise to love you until the end of my days. And we will always be a team no matter how bad things get." The dance floor was packed all night, many a glass was raised, and yes, there were tears, but there was laughter as well. And it was the best party so many of us have been to. Of course, a big part of planning your wedding day is that first dance as husband and wife. Trying to pick out the perfect song, because this is the song that will represent you as a couple forever. Paige and Jordan, they picked a song by musician Andy Grammer. They had picked it before getting all this news, but in hindsight, it probably was even more applicable after. In the song, Andy sings, "I will fight for you, I will stay with you, we'll make it to the other side because I'm not giving up. Even when I'm down to my last breath, even when they say there's nothing left, I'm not giving up, so don't give up on me." Jordan hasn't given up. He's a fighter. He has been his entire life, which makes it even more admirable that he went on to become a paramedic to help save other people's lives. Tonight's Ignite event is in support of Jordan. And that may be the prime reason you're here, or maybe you don't even know Jordan's story and you just came to see some very talented speakers take to the stage. And either way, that's okay. Because you being here, you're helping to raise funds so Jordan and Paige can continue their journey, their fight, helping to pay for the costs associated with the ongoing treatments. Ignite is about inspiring. And so I asked several people the life lessons that Jordan's story had inspired within them. And this is what I heard. Be relentless in your pursuit of defying the odds. Jordan reminded me that the universe needs that 1 in a million. Never underestimate the power of love, the power of community, and the power of positive thinking. And finally, live every day to the fullest. Love harder, laugh louder. Jordan and Paige recently adopted a new puppy, and they named their dog Hope, because as they put it, hope is all we need. Tonight, you being here helps inspire that hope. The hope that for Jordan and Paige, their future will be full of many more of those best days ever, just like their wedding day. Thank you.